I know that's what
Oh, Lord.
Oh yeah? Let's go. Let's go. Oh,
My children are here. I'm looking at
Oh, this is great for children. It's fantastic for kids. Y'all can ride too. All right, so right out the gates, one of my mentors told me that whenever you're going to do a talk, to stem some of the nervousness, have one secret. I over prepare, and the secret is for if you don't have anything else to talk about, or if you blank, you can flash people with your secret. I over prepare. I have two secrets. My first secret is my socks don't match. Y'all better hope I don't freeze up for the second secret. That's what because that's gonna take it to the next level. All right. So to begin, I want to make sure I have everyone's attention. So what we're going to do is, what I like to do to get my own attention is I like to do a little mantra. It's a little focus, a little meditation. So what it does is it brings you to the center of yourself. And then that way, from the center of yourself, we can clear everything that's in your mind from outside the room. And what that will allow you to do is to hear me partially, but more hear yourself and what is most relevant to you and what I'm saying. Okay, everybody ready? Yeah. Let's begin. Close your eyes. All right. Now I want you to hear any sound you hear in the room, including my voice, but focus on the sound of my voice. Okay? And with the first deep breath in through your nose, I want you to let go of every sound in this room but the sound of my voice and the sound of your thoughts. Breathe out through your mouth, release any stress, release any negative energy that might be keeping you from focusing and being your most powerful self. Second deep breath in through your nose, I want you to focus entirely on the breathing. Okay, allow any thoughts that come into your mind to be there. Okay, gently classify the thoughts. I like to use the metaphor TIES, T-I-E-S. Is this a thought? Is it an impulse? An impulse is a desire to do something. Is it an emotion? I'm angry, I don't know what about. Is it a sensation? My pinky toe is tickling. Okay? So whatever comes in, once they call it name it, tame it. Once you put a label on it, return your attention to your breath now. Another deep breath in. Okay, now we're going to do, that is centering. We're going to ground ourselves now. We ground ourselves with a mantra. I'm going to give you a simple mantra that anytime your mind is making noise and you want to return to your strength, your truth, and your power, you can say this mantra. It's super simple. It's my favorite. It may be your favorite too by the time we're done. The first word is Arum. Arum. Beautiful. Second word is Bar. Third word is Dam. Arum, Bar, Dam.
Arum, Bar, Dam.
Now, these words make no sense and have no meaning, so any thoughts you have coming into your mind right now, go ahead and use TIES, T-I-E-S. Is it a thought? Is it an impulse? Is it an emotion? Is it a sensation? Either way, notice it, that your unconscious mind will feel heard and felt, and your unconscious mind will calm down. Excellent. Second phrase should sound familiar because the only difference in the second phrase is the word in the middle. So, first word is Arum.
Arum.
Second word is Ba. Not to be confused with what? Bar. Beautiful. Third word is Dam. You've heard it before. You should love it by now. If you don't, love it anyway. All right. So we're going to say both of them together, back to back. Imagine you're just switching back and forth between these two sentences. What this does is it covers your consciousness, the auditory part of your consciousness. And since your eyes are closed, there's nothing in the visual part of your consciousness, so you should only have your thoughts, your strength, your power, and your truth in this space. All right, you guys ready? Arum, Bar, Dam. Arum, Ba, Dam. Arum, Bar, Dam. Arum, Ba, Dam. I'm going to stop cutting up your meat for you now. I'm going to give you guys about a minute to go back and forth between those two thoughts in your mind. And as you do this, imagine an elevator, an escalator, some stairs going down, starting at 10, down to 1, 1 being your most powerful, clear, focused resource state. 10, going down, 9, deeper, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Open your eyes costume, fantastic, amazing. Give me your full attention. Let's see. Okay. All right. Okay. So, how do you turn your book into a business? The way you turn your book into a business is knowing what the business is you want to turn your book into. Okay? A lot of people go into this game and they're like, oh, I have a book. Why am I not rich yet? I'm depressed. Okay? Your book is like a deeper, more meaningful, more powerful business card. Okay? So, as you see, let's do it. We have Thinking About Quitting Medicine, Volume 1, Thinking About Quitting Medicine, Volume 2. The excuse, I can't write, yes you can. You've been writing all your life, get out of your head. All right?
Facts.
There's someone somewhere waiting to hear what is in your mind, truthfully, vulnerable, clear, honest, with simple words. Don't put layers of obfuscation. That means don't use big words.
That's a big word.
Right? That means don't use big words to hide the fact that you're scared that people might think you don't know what you're talking about. Hit them with the 4th grade words and they will understand and they will love you instead of getting defensive and shutting down and deciding that you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, see how paradoxical that is? You hit them with the big words, they're like, I don't know what he means, this is talking boring. And you hit them with some simple words like, I know that word, I've been there. Okay, that's layer 1. Layer 2, you hit them with the hero's journey. Okay, everyone is tuned to WIIFM, what's in it for me? You know, no one is walking through a bookstore like, oh, which author am I going to make wealthy? That's not how it works. Everyone is walking through what's in it for me. What problem is in my mind right now? I'm walking through, ooh, that word in reality matches the problem in my mind. The universe put that there for me. Boom, they grab it. That's how people work. So don't break their experience by getting in your head. Simplify it, okay? You tell them the hero's journey. The hero's journey begins with a hero has something they want. Everyone has something they want. Be honest about what you want, okay? The thing that you want, and what's helpful in a business is it's helpful to help people. It's most powerful to help people with a problem that you've solved. Don't help people with a problem you're in the middle of. That's for later. That's for the next book. Okay? First book in the business is going to be a problem that you solve that you're confident about. As you're writing the book, it might very well be that you're documenting a problem that you're in the process of solving. Most people get so caught in their heads that they're solving a problem, they're not paying attention, they're not present as to how they're solving the problem, they don't catch any of the details. You will. Okay? And by talking about all the details, your first book has hints of your second book, your third book, your fourth book, your fifth book, and your audience will tell you. A hero has something they want. A hero has something they value. A hero has people they like and trust who share the vision. Okay? So whatever problem you're going to solve, you didn't solve it by yourself. Okay? Let people know who showed up. Someone like them, someone like you, who showed up to help them. What that does is it helps people let down their guard and be less defensive and read your book knowing that you're one of the people who doesn't believe in beating up people when they come for help. Okay? So you let them know I went for help and that made the difference. Otherwise they can sit and spin all they want. Okay? A hero has something they want. That was the easy part. A hero decides that they're going to do it. They're going to get it. A hero stays present. A hero, eventually, you can't be a hero if you don't come back and tell the story to people who care about it. So your book makes you the hero, but your book also makes you the guide because you step out of yourself and the need for adulation in that moment. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, 1, 2, you gather the right people who share the vision. What you do in that way is you let your people know that they belong in your tribe. Okay? If they read, they're like, that's me. I'm part of the journey. I'm going to help this person by buying their book, by showing up at their events. You're basically subconsciously guiding people and essentially programming the parts of them that are afraid to take the next set of steps. Okay? A hero runs into obstacles. Okay? You gotta let them know things were going okay. I decided I wanted something. The second you want something, everything gets in the way. Ignorance is bliss. If you don't want anything, there's nothing in your way. I promise you that. You can sit there all day and be like, man, I don't have no problems. You don't have a purpose. Because the second you want something, if I want to get over there, I have a problem. Because I want a glass of orange juice or cranberry. It's delicious too. I had some. I want some cranberry juice. I have a problem. I'm thirsty. Oh, what are my problems? First of all, A, I'm lazy. Here's a book about how to get over your laziness when you're thirsty. Okay? here's a book about where I found the cups. Okay? Third thing, I get over here. I have a nervous hand, so I'm going to pour cranberry juice all over the table before I get some in my cup. Here's a book about getting over your nervousness. Okay? You take this journey, you face the problems, you overcome the first problem. I promise you, as soon as you overcome the first problem, boom, it's going to hit the fan. Because the universe will test you on one level, you pass that test. Guess what comes after an easy test if you succeed? A harder test. And then a harder test. And then you hit rock bottom and all hope is lost. Okay? In your business, that point where all hope is lost, if you're able to be honest and true with people about what that feels like, what it smells like, what it tastes like, what it was like, and what you did to get up. Who got in your way? Who insulted you? Who made fun of you? How alone with you were you? You know? And with me, I'll tell you mine. When we started thinking about quitting medicine, I had just had a business called Belly Up. You know, after being high visibility on social media, I literally lost everything. You know, I lost everything. I lost my house. I lost my cars. My wife was like, you know, this business thing is getting old. Peace out. She didn't say it exactly like that, but it's a lot shorter story that way. You know, so and I went to my dad's house. I was like, dude, I need this couch. And Dad, if you're watching, this is true, so don't get too mad. My dad and I don't super get along like that. You know, and as grown-ups, it's even worse because now we have that power dynamic. We get along on a certain level, but there's this latent, you know, who's in charge. If I'm on your house, on your couch, guess who's in charge? There's a reversal I didn't want to see after, you know. And this is a person, I went to Harvard, I went to medical school, I've launched software companies, I've done all these things, but I also discovered I have a crippling anxiety and deep depressions that come when they feel like coming. Okay? So, on my dad's couch, I was like, okay, there are 3 paths to transcendence. You can either transcend through suffering, which I was already doing. That wasn't working. You can transcend, wasn't working for me. You can transcend, and transcend is getting beyond yourself, getting beyond your ego, connecting to reality, connecting to truth. 3 paths. Again, suffering. I was doing plenty of that. It was not working for me. I was like, let's try something else. Second one is through service. You can do something with your pain. Service. And the third one is through study, through digging for knowledge. Again, I'm a Harvard guy, so I started studying everything. Anyone who saw my social media presence before I shifted from study to service will tell you, you know, I'm a psychiatrist by training. So I was in my own head even deeper. and I had like 1991, I started studying psychology under William Kosslyn. If anyone wants to Google Kosslyn, Kosslyn is a kingmaker. You know, I mean, he gets deep into the science. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come out of this depression by honoring William Kosslyn and digging deeper and deeper and deeper. There's a lot of stuff on neuroscience of depression. You could read forever. Let it go. Stop doing the research. Serve from where you are. Your business exists the second you decide to take what you have in that moment and start serving with it without ego. You know, that's how you turn. I believe entrepreneurship is self-expression and service. So once I turned to service, I was like, okay, get out of your head. You got to serve. What pain are you in? I was like, well, I had quit medicine 3 times. This was my 3rd time quitting. And every time when I hit bottom, I was like, well, I guess I got to go back. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing it this time. And my brother, who went to Duke with Doc Swiner, was like, hey, have you reached out to Nicole? And I was like, I'm not trying to show up to nobody and be like, hey, look, I'm broke, depressed, and I've lost everything that I've built. Would you like to work with me? As a patient? You know, so how am I doing on time, Nicole?
I don't know. You're doing great. Keep going.
So I'm on this couch, and when I lost everything, the way my mind is set up, I was like, curse word and all. You know, y'all pick a curse word to go with it. You guys don't do that. Okay? So basically, I was at my dad's house with a suitcase. All the other stuff that I had bought meant nothing to me because part of anxiety for me was accumulating stuff. Accumulating a big old house on a lake, accumulating these cars that you can't afford, the abstract you know, and having it on social media, being at VIP parties. None of that mattered to me because my self-worth was abysmal at that point. You know, so I'm lying on this couch and I'm like, what do I have to bring? And I was like, my truth? And then so I was like, okay. And I remember the clothes in my suitcase were like super, super, super wrinkled, you know, and the pants were in there were faded and whatever. And my shoes were like a pair of shoes that had been through a rough time, you know? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna show up at this event, all these doctors gonna be here, cameras gonna be there, you know, on some celeb stuff, you know. So I extra ironed my shirt too, you know, it would be faded but crispy, you know, the collar had that look, like it had been washed a few times. You know, I was like, I hope she don't see this ring around this collar because, you know, the shirt been through it. The shirt was a little frayed. It was a Brooks Brothers, but it was a Brooks Brothers from several seasons ago. You know, so anyone who knew Brooks Brothers would be like, bruh. You know, and so I was like, again, I had lost my car, so I was like, Dad, I need to borrow your car. And again, I don't like to ask my dad for anything. So I've already asked for plenty. So got in the car, drove over to Nicole's book signing, and I had this idea. I was like, yo, basically, let's write this book about the pain because I don't want anyone else to ever go through what I went through. There's a lot of people with a lot of talent, a lot of brilliance who can serve, but they gotta hear. They gotta have a space, first of all, that when they're thinking, to be allowed to think. And to think enough to stop thinking. Because the way our brains work, if you ain't done thinking, you're gonna keep thinking. You could be talking to me, and if there was something you were thinking about, you were like, yeah, yeah. What? You know, so ultimately the goal of the book, the vision was, and then I thought I'd field test it. I was a little shaky, and I walked up to Dr. Melva and Dr. Erica were there. And buy both together, by the way, for the people at home. Ask me, plug one, plug two. You know, if you get in touch with me, Nicole's here, we can get volumes of them. We'll get you the two at a special price. We priced them at $39.99 each, but to demonstrate value, because each position is worth it individually, let alone together. So I went ahead and as I was at the table, I walked up to Dr. Melva, and it turned out she had been a bridesmaid at my brother's wedding because she was in the same store. She was a Delta with line sister of my brother's wife. And so I walk up to her, I'm like, I know you from somewhere. And so we started talking around that. And she started telling me about some of the businesses she was pursuing on the side. A lot of times in medicine, pursuing a business on the side makes certain docs get in their feelings, you know? So even bringing up the fact that you're thinking about another thing means that you're not thinking about medicine and you're married to medicine. I was like, it's time for a divorce? Another one, if we're being honest. If we're being honest. I think at that point, I started talking about, she was telling me about some of the side businesses she was pursuing and which ones were doing what and some of the feelings she was having in her attempt to express to people that were multiple facets to her. And I was like, hey, I'm actually here to meet Nicole and to mention an idea to her. And then basically I was like, it's similar to what you're talking about. And she was like, well, good, I'm on. I was like, high five, that's two of us. I was like, okay, all right, I'm feeling a little bolder. You know, I'm not feeling as bad about the faded shirt. You know, thinking less about the ring around my collar. And then so I walked around a little bit. Plus there was a fountain with drinks, so I went ahead and I was like, oh, free drinks, I'm on a budget. You know, so I had a little fountain flavored drink, and then I ran into Dr. Erica. She's also a psychiatrist, and she was doing locums work, which is also a way of bending medicine to meet your needs. And so then my brain clarified. It was like, okay, it's a book about people who've left medicine, but ultimately a lot of people left in their minds enough to explore different facets of themselves, and then came back to let those who know, those there, know that there's a path, which is the hero's journey. You're not a hero unless you come back and tell your story. So I'm talking to Erica, and she was like, I like the idea. So I was like, hey, come here. I said, hey, come here. I said, hey, Nicole, I got something for you. And then she was like, I like it. Let's get it. And that began my relationship with Swiner Publishing. Rick set up the project management. Rick did the covers. I came up with the ball and chain metaphor because, you know, the marriage metaphor is ball and chain. We made sure it was a Tiffany's ball and chain because it's a high-end ball and chain. You know how they talk about the golden handcuffs? Like how you have this career and you have everything you want except your freedom and your autonomy. So kind of riffed on that, you know, brought our authors together. Now, the beauty of working with Swiner Publishing is I got to focus on what I wanted to do. I wanted to put some words on paper and get it to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how you build a business. People read that and they're like, I love this person. It's easy to get caught up in the steps in the process and fail in the process and beating yourself up. And then you end up with words that aren't so much about what you want to say, but that are more about how you feel about what you want to say. You know, if your book is full of, well, I wanted to tell you guys about this, but the process is taking too long. Even if you're not saying it, people feel it. If you're not confident in the way your chapters are laid out, if you're not confident about your cover, about how you're going to get this book to a bestseller, if those things are in the way, you're not in your hero's journey, you're in your head. You know, and there's a whole different thing called the drama triangle that if you guys want, we can talk about later. But it's when you're not in your hero's journey, you're in these different forms of imposter syndrome, these different stories that are debilitating, and they're running in your head. Anything you think over and over again is a belief because it shows up in your environment. And after a while, you're like, I'm thinking it all the time, it must be true. And anything you think over and over again that is debilitating is a limiting belief. And this is what imposter syndrome is, which is my next book that's coming out soon.
Hey.
Easy plug.
Good plug.
Let's get it. So the way you turn your book into a business is you become the storyteller that is in the book. You pick your people up here and you get them here. Here being the good place, okay? Where you got after you've been through all this stuff. On the way in, you tell them about everything you've been through on the bottom. They identify with your messes better than they identify with your successes. True. No one wants to hear you brag, okay? Now, a lot of times we're like, well, I don't want to put the blood on the floor in the book. Guess what? The people that show up and criticize your book, they're going to criticize your business and your service anyway. That's their personality. People project themselves into your book. The people looking for your help, when they read about you in your darkest of places, they'll be like, I was there too. And beyond that, the hero's journey is based on your values, your principles. Okay? They call them instrumental values and terminal values. Instrumental values are what are you willing to do to get there? Your terminal values are what is your there. If you violate either of those, on the other side, you will be unfulfilled. Okay? So when you write your book, you put your values in there. And anyone who really wants to move, anyone connected to their truth, anyone in that pain at the beginning where they know there's something they truly want, you know, whether it's cranberry juice across the room and being too lazy and nervous to get it, or, you know, to take over the world, they know that your values show up in your book. Your core values, which is the architecture of your business. You know, you create a frame of reference, and then in your book, the people who show up, when they meet you in person, the work for them is easy. They show up and they're like, and they'll tell you, they'll walk up and they'll be like, boom, they'll tell you the pain point based off the chapter in your book. Then you know where to serve. Then as you're touring, you know, automatically, the book is an opportunity to speak because it gives you something to speak about. Everywhere you show up, you'll be like, unless you read my book, don't be arguing. The best way to read my book is to buy a copy now. Conveniently, I have one. If they don't buy, that's not your audience. That's not your customer. If they do buy, not if, when they do buy, let's eliminate the probability because they're going to buy. So when they do buy, the people that go, a lot of people might not even read it, but they have it. They use it as a security blanket. You know, when I was in psychiatry, a lot of times people would need a small dose, a few Ativans. And they'd be like, I'd be like, well, why do you need the Ativan? Because I can do everything as long as I know I have it in my pocket. A lot of people won't even read your book, but they'll know that they have a book about how to do the thing they want to do. And they're going to go do it now. They're going to make all the mistakes. Every time they fall down, they're going to get back up, knowing that at some point they're going to read your book. They heard your story. Your story, when you talk to them, should have everything in the book. So anytime they open the book to a random place, it'll feel like magic. They'll be like, oh, that's exactly what he was talking about. Unless you use big words and they're like, I don't know what he means, I hate this guy. Okay? So beyond that, your book is full of what are called hooks. Okay? Your hooks lead to your story. They're curiosity triggers. You know, a person should be able to, if they crack the book open where they're sitting, and usually they'll crack this somewhere where you're either in pain or recovering from pain. And guess what? everyone at any point in time is either in pain or recovering from pain. And they're like, man, I always open this book to just the right place for me. If they're really ready to change. People who aren't ready to change, they'll be like, I hate this book. And you don't want them contacting you anyway.
Right.
Okay? So along the journey, they get to know your values. They get to know your principles. The people who are ready show up. The people who are deeply ready crack the book after beating their head against the wall by themselves. You've already vetted your audience. Once they show up already framed in the metaphor that you've laid out in your book. You don't have to do a lot of deep selling. The book has done the selling for you. They know they can trust you because they know how you operate. From here on, you have the trust, know, like, trust, which are the three cores of sales. They know you, they like you, they trust you. They show up, basically, here's my money, almost. Then you have to be prepared with a sales pitch.
There you go.
You know?
Now you gotta book them.
Yeah. There's a process of a discovery call. First of all, in the discovery call, don't talk their head off. You already did. Your true deepest audience, the people who do the work, they read the book already. People who show up looking for shortcuts, once they give you their money, they're gonna be looking for shortcuts anyway. Again, and they're not gonna get the hardcore results. You don't want everyone as your client. You want to vet your clients. Your book does that.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, during the discovery call is for you and them. Okay? Once you get people in this, I do about a 45-minute discovery call. Once you get people on discovery call, listen to their problem. Ask them questions that other people won't ask them. You know, honest questions that indicate you were listening, you're not too busy. This is their 45 minutes. They'll discover so much about themselves during the call that one of my mentors said, assume the sale. Okay? That means...
I'm sorry. Do you charge for your discovery calls?
No, it's free.
Free. Good.
Free.
Okay.
Yeah. Why would I charge you for me to take more of your money? You know, I mean, the discovery call, it's an appetizer. It's a free appetizer. Some people call it a loss leader. You know? Yeah, because like whatever you build an hour, part of the math you do in your business is looking at, I build this an hour, I have this ratio of closing, but you told me not to get too deep into the algorithm, so I won't. But there's math behind this, okay? One of the ways you get over the rejection is usually when we start off, we have a 1 in 10 success ratio. So you gotta tell yourself every time someone rejects you, you're like, number 8 is coming soon. You want one by my book? No. Number 9, it should be coming soon. Number 10, boom, there it is. That's my one sale. Feels good.
That's good.
Gotta get this ratio up because it hurts me badly, these 9. I gotta get, what can I do to get my ratio up? You know, the way you get your ratio up is by being like, what's my ratio out of 100? Practice. Okay? And listen. You know? If you're not in your head, then you are in the heart of your audience. It's really that simple. During that call, listen. It's a discovery call for them to discover what they want and for you to discover what they want. You bring up their needs, and their needs will tell you every other book you need to write. Because those who read your book, they'll be like, hey, in chapter such and such, I got stuck when, and literally what they're projecting is their limiting belief. Don't be like, that was right there in the book. Because they're literally telling you the part of your book that their brain refuses to see in reality. They told you that's their unmet need. Because check this out, everything you need to solve a problem in your reality is there. Otherwise you'd be dead. You know, if you really couldn't solve a problem, you'd be dead. But we don't see it because our ego, our fear, you know, our prejudices. So this person comes to you, and in that moment, when they tell you what they need, it's already in the book. So 2 things, you'll be like, oh, well, yeah, I've been meaning to make that part of the book clearer. You gotta know your book. So you'll be like, yeah, actually, you wanna model the person you're talking to, because you're deepening a relationship. You wanna be like, actually, hold on, let me see. You know, basically in this moment, there's a nervous energy in the convo, because they just admitted something really, subconsciously, they know it's in the book. Subconsciously, they know that all their friends have had success in this space except for them. You know, and that's how we always feel when we're alone. And you let them know they're not alone. In that moment, you're like, oh, let me see if I can find it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, well, here it is. Yeah. And then you point it out in the book, and your deeper involved people have the book at home. If they don't, it's a good time for you to pitch a copy. Either way, the discovery call is a fantastic conversation.
How does that process work then? So like,
which part?
The discovery call. So like, I'm coming to your book signing, and like I'm talking to you, and like your number is available, and we have set up a conversation, or how does that?
Well, my approach is I get people to Facebook friend me.
Okay.
And the way my Facebook friend stream is set up, once you jump in, it's like Hotel California. You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave. You know? I mean, you'll be like, oh, this dude good with the memes. You're like, okay, it's been a year and I've been watching this dude's memes. Okay, I've lost track of time. And at some point, my hashtag is asylum awaits. I'm a patient dude. You know, I know it's gonna take us 7 touches before you decide to like come through for work. If it takes me 7 years to get those 7 touches, I'm here. You know?
What is the work on the back end, so I can kind of frame that? So you're saying you have this discovery call. What does them becoming a client actually look like in your process?
Yeah. There's 2 aspects. There are soft closes and there are hard closes. My program, and I don't mind talking numbers, so can I talk numbers?
Yes.
Okay, my program is a 12-week program. It's 5,000. So I tell people pretty straight up, my program is 5K, and they're like, oh. Some people be like, oh. And you're like, well, if you don't have it, then you sure ain't gonna have the $20,000 I'm trying to get out of you for a year.
Right.
Good talk. You know, but then I have a group program, $12.75 a month. Same knowledge, just less personalized. So I bring that up. You know, but you don't do that until you've met the needs, and you do after you do the needs assessment, you do what's called a sales presentation. My favorite book for this is Mastering the Art of Selling, because he breaks it down to a 7-step sales process.
Who's that?
Tom Hopkins. And I always gotta say who suggested it. Dr. Eric Tate, one of my mentors, suggested that. He says read it 7 times. Every time I've read it, I've found new and deeper stuff in it. Well, you're a writer, you know. So, sales presentation, and then on the other side of the sales presentation, what you're gonna get is objections, all the no's, all the limiting beliefs. And then after the limiting beliefs, you know, they say you knock down the big domino. The first limiting belief, and then there's a set of standard limiting beliefs. There's I can't afford it, and some people truly can't afford it. Some people I can't afford it means it's not a priority for me.
Right.
Depending on how deep a pain they're in, this is either an opportunity to offer them something else, an aspirin. You know, with me, I tend to book a follow-up free hypnosis session because a lot of people don't want to pay that kind of money till you drop them.
Right.
You know, once they're like, oh, I just saw a piece of my childhood. Where's my wallet?
Right.
you know, gravity's a beast. You know, so so there's a set of standard objections you're gonna run into. Let me talk to my wife or husband, and then what are some of the other? I don't have time, and time is about prioritization. So I don't have time means there's a bunch of other stuff that has been holding me back from doing this anyway. That I kind of need your help to sort.
Right. And I'm not feeling the pain enough to deal with it.
Yeah. Again, my hashtag is asylum waits. You know, and my mentor used to say, suffer some more. Not out loud, you don't say that out loud. But ultimately, you'd be like, it's not a rejection, it's just someone who hasn't fully come in touch with their suffering. You know, time is an illusion, it stretches out when you suffer. Take your time. You know, and then, so after the objections, then you go in for a harder close. If you vetted them and they can't afford it, no apostrophe T, then you go in for a hard close. I pitch my highest end program first. You know, I'm better with a downsell than an upsell.
Right.
You know,
Right.
So if they can't afford it, then you offer something else that is equally effective for some, but not for most. My group program is equally effective, but most people need to hear stuff precisely in their lane for it to go in.
Right.
So in a group, everyone is like, even though you're solving a parallel problem to theirs, that's not their precise pain point that day.
Right. Watered down a little bit.
Exactly. And when you're in pain, that's not the time you're going to be coming up with a metaphor of different ways. You're like, oh, that's analogous to a problem I had a while ago. If I shift it, it can help me in this moment. That's not how we work. We want to know that you're solving the problem we have.
Yeah.
But the beauty of the group is it's a good transition to your one-to-one, because week after week, people see you solving problems like rapid fire in large groups in a random population. You know, it's not really a random population because ultimately they've been through your discovery call.
Right.
They've read through your book. They've built a relationship with you. So it's basically people who think like you, share your values, share your principles, and ultimately have a vision to solve a problem that you have solved, as indicated by the book you brought to them. Right? Cool. Did I leave anything out?
Well,
No.
I just wanted to know what, for you, what is the work that you're doing? Is it like more consulting based? Are you solving problems? Like, what is that piece for you?
Well, I meet with my clients once a week for
Uh-huh.
12 weeks, and I call it Heal, Grow, Thrive.
Okay.
Most people, once they're about to pursue something, for real, all your childhood trauma comes up. And if you happen to have adult trauma and developmental trauma, that all comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first 4 weeks, I do a combination of hypnosis and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And with me, I don't practice psychiatry anymore, but my clients take a certain comfort in knowing that if they're going over the edge, I'll be like, "Hey, dude, that needs a pill."
Yeah.
I lean more towards, I believe in hypnosis, I believe in more cognitive behavioral therapy, timeline therapy, etc. But I don't know what it looks like when you need help or when you need to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And my folks, that allows me, knowing that allows them to go extra hard. Because when you go extra hard, your brain does weird things. You like when you go digging for fears in order to get what you really want, that's how you end up at that bottom we discussed in the hero's journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, should I run through what my first 8 weeks are?
Yeah.
Okay, week 1, I call it centering. Week 1, we do a basic breathing exercise, and we do a hypnosis where we go back into the past to pull the problem that is holding you back in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, it's a childhood argument. There's basically what we do is we go back and we pull up the memory that's holding you back, and we separate the emotion from the concept, and that allows you to approach the concept without fear anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And since every concept really exists out in reality, if I don't have a phobia of cranberry juice, I can approach it with confidence. So once we free that memory, every other memory that is associated with that negative fear charge from your whole life that you have in your subconscious, all those memories are free too. When you hear people talk about releasing energy, releasing blocks, that's all that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's week 1. Week 2 is then we do a future casting. We project you into your future. This is the hypnosis part. We project you into your future so you see yourself most confident, most fulfilled, how many years that is. And then what we do then is we look at what values are embedded in there. We clarify your principles, we clarify your strengths. Okay? Now, the opportunity there is after that, you go home and you're ready to get it. So you spend a week in that vision. When people say connect with your vision, a lot of times we're like, oh, this is kind of what I want. No, the way your brain works is that when you connect to your vision, you see your vision everywhere. Mm-hmm. Now, because there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow is an illusion. You see your vision everywhere. You see opportunities. When you're thirsty, somebody got another cup of water, you're like, should I get him for his water? That's how we work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your principles are what clarifies what steps to take next. Nah, I'm not gonna rob them unless I get super thirsty. No. So week 3 is the drama triangle. What to do when you're triggered. So the second you start making moves, everyone around you that you've attracted as your old self, they're not thrilled about your new self. Mm. So they're gonna start doing the sabotage. Not because they don't love you, but because they love you and they want you gone.
That's gospel.
They don't want you gone. Okay?
I need another page. Hold on.
So the drama triangle is victim, villain, hero.
Can you run that sentence back again? So
I forget stuff when I say it.
No, I know. That's why I'm gonna try to trigger it. The people you attracted as your old self.
Yeah,
you started
they don't care about your new self. They love your old self.
Mm-hmm.
All this brand new you're talking about, the more you talk about this vision, all they're seeing is that they're stuck here too, and when you go, you're leaving them there.
Mm.
So, that's why you're new. You have your tribe of origin, the tribe you grew up with, and then you have your aspiration tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Your aspiration tribe are the people who've accomplished what you want, yet are generous, open, wise, and willing enough to tell you how they got there, step by step.
Right.
Which is who you are when you write the book, just to be clear.
Right.
That's how the book becomes a business. The second you get out of your head, you start telling all these secrets,
Nice.
Yeah.
then you become the guide for the next generation of heroes. This is how, this is human nature. This is how we as a species have survived, by telling each other stories with the details and getting around each other's egos and developing trust,
Yeah.
Because one-on-one, we don't survive. We're not bigger than most animals. We don't fly. We're not super fast. We come up with tools together: cars, airplanes. Just ideas, techniques. Okay, so
I have a question from the live stream.
Yeah, hit me.
Sam says, how did Dr. Manning decide on 12 weeks? Did he know, or did you have to just try it and adjust? How'd you come up with that? Is it a secret?
12 weeks lands right around a quarter, so that most people find that when they get over themselves, they're ready to make some money. Because once you get over guilt, you're like, why am I not living a better life? Because I'm afraid to ask for it. And so, yeah, so those first 4 weeks are for that. The reason I chose 12 is because it's near a quarter. It's a business quarter, so it maps the quarters.
Nice.
Yeah. Plus, people don't like the number 13 so much when you're talking about your subconscious mind. So week 1, week 2, week 3. Week 3 was a drama triangle: victim, villain, hero. And the hero in the drama triangle is not the honorable hero. The hero in the drama triangle is the person who watches you suffer, and then they come through and they're like, "Oh, I know how to fix this." And you're like, "Well, if you know how to fix that, why didn't you help me earlier with all the smaller steps?" Nah, I needed to feel important. And they're like, "Nah, I needed you to be appreciative. I would have been super appreciative 6 months ago." So when you write your book and you're providing the hero's journey, you're not the drama triangle hero. So victim, villain, hero. So the hero is the person who keeps a secret behind their back, and they're bragging, they're in your face, but they're not on some teach a man to fish. They're like, teach a man how to use a pole, put it in the water, but they don't teach you how to catch the fish. They leave out a step, and it's not even like, oh, if I give you money, you're gonna give me the step. Nah, the step is bound in their identity. Because sometimes, honestly, they don't know that step. Or they wouldn't be stuck in the drama triangle with you. Okay? So they're going to tell you everything they know. They're going to dance around the limiting belief and give you a bunch of work to do while taking your money at this level of consciousness. Yes, ma'am?
Can you repeat that last sentence one more time?
I forgot it.
The one about people knowing this, like they keep certain stuff hidden for their step.
Yeah. Your hero will tell you all about the place that honestly they haven't been yet, and they keep the step hidden that they don't know. So that hero is the illusion of a hero. Okay? But they're one up from the victim. That hero is the person who always hangs out at the dive bar, the dive bar of life, to use that metaphor, and they're always giving people advice about how to do the thing. And you're like, yeah, I haven't seen you do the thing yet.
And you're still here at the bar.
They have not overcome the fear. It's not the steps that's hard. The steps are simple. The fear is hard. Each person's fear is hard. Okay? So the hero in the drama triangle will show up all the time and hang out with victims all the time because it makes them feel validated. They're always willing to help you. As a matter of fact, they're good at arguing with the other person in the drama triangle, which is the villain. The villain is the person that as soon as you make the slightest mistake, they're there to point out the mistakes. Guess what? They haven't transcended either. Otherwise, they wouldn't be hanging out here looking for victims to pick on. Their identity is bound in picking on the victims. Okay? And the victim, you fall to the victim position when you feel stuck, you feel resentful, and you feel like someone outside of you has the secrets or the power to get where you want to get. Okay? So the drama triangle, here's the beauty of it. There's this thing called self-alienation where you split yourself into multiple pieces. You can be a victim and sit there and be victim mode in your head. And there's an imaginary villain that is in your head that you're looking for someone to project it onto. As soon as they show up, you're like, that's the guy that's keeping me from doing what I want. But really, it's a belief that you have. Because you don't believe you can do it, you're looking in your universe for someone to be the reason.
Right.
You're making that attribution.
Sure.
You're in the drama triangle. So, and then when they're not around, guess what? You'll sit around and be like, the reason I'm not such and such is because of this person or whatever, And just to put a full loop in our story, I spent most of my life making my dad the villain. When I chose to take responsibility for it and to build a relationship with him where I felt empowered, everything changed. I was able to have a better relationship with my son as well.
Wow.
Because I wasn't like, well, I'm not going to be a good dad because blah, 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 blah. My dad, I was like, look, sorry, Dad, the old man got you to Harvard. The old man got you to med school. How about you stop complaining? How about you hit that reality? How about the fact that you have a little bit of oppositional defiant disorder and the old man kept you straight? How about every time the old man wasn't looking, you got in trouble? And sometimes when he was looking, you managed to get in trouble there too. So ultimately, when you leave the drama triangle, you go into the hero's journey. Anytime someone triggers enough fear in you, you drop subconscious, you go unconscious, you go into the drama triangle. That's week 3 in my system. Week 4 is getting centered. When you're centered, you're here now, which means you are where your feet are in the present. Okay? So if you're not in the present, where are you? And I use the metaphor of a compass. You're either in the future where you're worrying, which is the good feeling future, or you're over anticipating. you're still not present. You're never going to get there if you're not doing the things in the present. The other aspect is you are in the past in criticism of the old you. You know, and people in the drama triangle trigger you off center. Okay? And then the other one, so in front of you to the north is the future. That's the horseman of worry. To the behind you is the horseman of criticism. He's knocked you out of present. To your left, afraid of being left out, is the horseman of victimhood, which we discussed in the drama triangle. And to the right is perfectionism. Perfectionism is rooted in shame. You have this big, perfect vision because you haven't taken the time to decide what really matters to you enough to face your shame and fear. So you have this vision. It's like, what's it going to look like? It's going to be huge. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be fantastic. And people are like, tell me some more details. No, because you'll judge. And no, because then I'll have to get down to the work and being present. Right. So week 4 is about being present. So these are, the first 4 weeks are everything that can go wrong for you in the process of development. So we cover all those. After 4 weeks over, you have no excuses. The next 4 weeks, we talk about intention, we talk about distraction intention, and implementation intentions, which are the automatic thoughts that come to your mind that you just, the way your brain stores info, once you activate an intention, you activate it in your body. Because you've intended to punch someone and you've been here before you realize that you didn't want to. You know, that's how intentions work. So we work in creating complex intentions, connecting them to your vision, which we cleared up in the first couple of weeks. And as we're doing that, as we're creating intentions, we also talk about distraction intentions, which are, once you get clear on what you want, all the fears are going to trigger you offline. So we create this map so that you just become this person who, instead of being discouraged and being in the drama triangle, you're like, oh, I'm distracted. This is actually my favorite distraction. How long have I been here? Okay, cool. Let me get back to work. And you do that over and over, you become someone who is persistent and perseverant and consistent and in integrity. So integrity is your core computing system. So the second 4 weeks is about getting integrity, getting clear, getting your goals, and becoming unstoppable. And the last 4 weeks of my program is bare knuckle brawling. You know, it's, you have no excuses anymore. None of this, something's wrong with me, I'm the victim, whatever, because we're going to go back and we're going to be like, oh yeah, that's the story you used to tell up until now. You know, and you can't claim you don't have the tools. We just spent 4 weeks practicing the tool. Every week you have homework to practice tools. The last 4 weeks, we're going in. You either get your dream or you get your dream. You know, that's how my system works. Did I answer?
Love it. Yeah, that's great. That's beautiful.
All right. What else do you want me to cover?
I don't know. That was great.
But that's it.
Well,
Ultimately,
so I know that there were a couple of questions about the ClickFunnels system, which
yes.
I'm sure it's heavy.
Okay, I'll go super surface.
All right. Can you give it to us in like 3 minutes?
Yeah.
What are like 3 important things that you learned so far about ClickFunnels and how you use it?
Yeah, I just came up out the pockets 2000 for ClickFunnels, so I'm a fan now.
What is ClickFunnels?
ClickFunnels is a customer relations management and content delivery system. Nowadays, we're in the knowledge industry. You create assets. Assets are thoughts that you have that you organized enough to save people time. So ClickFunnels allows you to get the right assets to people at the right time by automating the delivery. The most powerful part of ClickFunnels, ironically, is that they teach you the hero's journey. They teach you direct response marketing, how to put something in the right person's face at the right time, telling them the right story, so they say, give me. And then they taught you how to say, oh, you want this? Guess what else I have? And so ClickFunnels is an automation system. It has email marketing. It has retargeting, which is once someone lands on your website, they see your ads everywhere on YouTube and everything, if you're the right person for them. It has, instead of web pages, one of ClickFunnels' most main mottos is that web pages are dead. So you land on a page, ClickFunnels walks you through a sales process.
So that's just having one landing page?
It's one page.
Website?
Yeah, one landing page. But there are other pages, but people don't see them unless it's for them.
Okay.
Because the difference with our website, people can drop by your blog and read and go, read and go, read and go. They're going to buy one day. ClickFunnels like, you're going to read today, you're going to buy today. Or I'm going to follow you around until you buy. Because once you land on that page, it's the retargeting so that they're going to see YouTube videos that are just right for them. And ultimately, every video has a piece of your story. Because ultimately, what you're looking to do is hit a person at a point of resonance where after a certain number of touches, they're like, yo, this guy be in my head. You know? And when you're talking to the right person, you're talking clearly enough, no one else works. It's that simple. Other people will fall off the track because they sense a lack of integrity in the other person, because you're telling more truth than the other person, or they feel like the other person might withhold information, or they feel like the other person might solve the problem in a way that is not aligned with their values. Most of us don't think in that way. We think, I don't like this person. And what that means is if I hang out with this person eventually and mimic this person, eventually I will become a person that is not aligned with who I am and who I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, your 5 closest people are who you end up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so ultimately, by being there all the time, there's this effect in psychology called the mere exposure effect. If I show you something over and over again, you decide you like it, or you wouldn't be seeing it all the time. Because your unconscious mind blocks out things you don't like. You know, after a while, you tune them out, you get away from them, or you have a negative feeling anytime you see them. Anything you see over and over again that you don't have a negative feeling with, that is aligned with your values, you feel more and more like it's a part of you.
So how does one, I'm sorry, how does one develop a ClickFunnels or get someone to make them a ClickFunnels? Like how does it work?
You can hire people, but honestly, my take on it is, right now ClickFunnels has a free 2-week thing, and they're gonna sell you the whole time. What you do is you keep your eyes open so that you can be willing to buy and be ready to suck up all the info so you can make the money to buy. You know, so if you go to the ClickFunnels site, they're going to pretty quickly sell you a $100 product, which is a 30-day. It's called OFA, One Funnel Away Challenge. Every day for 30 days. Even before that, they do a week called Belief Week, where they teach you how to believe in yourself. And they do this by showing you the product that's going to solve your problems. They also, this is where I got the phrase, whenever you get stuck, think who, not how. Because a lot of times we end up in areas that are not our areas of expertise.
Yeah.
And then we end up discouraged, not believing we're ever going to accomplish the goal and get our message out.
Ask for help.
You know, and then one of their main things is, who can do this better than me? Who is passionate about this? Who's going to write copy way better than me after a week in a copywriting course? The guy who's been writing it for 10,000 hours plus. You know, and then they also bring home the concept of opportunity cost. Whatever you bill an hour, be willing to spend a piece of that for an hour of someone's time who might be cheaper, or for 10 hours of their time, especially if 10 hours of their time will get you where 20 hours of your time at your rate would be. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So basically, the biggest thing I got out of ClickFunnels was that the funnel is not the thing, the message is, the story is, the hook is. You know, so that's what I got for my 2K. You know, and it was day after day. First week was Belief Week. Second week was Hook Week, how to create hooks and how to build an offer. And an offer is realizing that a product is a commodity. So if I'm selling you this book, you'd be like, oh, this book, I'm not paying that for it. But you'd be like, well, no, the book also comes with, and they tell you how to either bring in collaborators to create other related products. And another thing ClickFunnels talks about, once you realize that the funnel's out of the way, once you realize you don't have to create 1,000 blog pages, you focus on creating stuff that serves your audience. And so if this audience has bought this, which means they're a customer with a high lifetime value, you know, then from there, you'll be like, what is the next problem my customer will have? And they'll tell you out loud, angrily sometimes, and you're like, well, that's the next product. You know, you write the next book. It might be an ebook. It might be 20 pages. It might be that you have a friend, and this is where affiliate marketing comes into your business. Sometimes they call it relationship marketing. Sometimes they call it referral marketing. You know, where you're like, I'm not writing that book, but I have read a lot of books in that space. I know this one is good, and you recommend it. And if it's not one you make money off of, so what? You've helped your customers solve that problem. And you become the person that solves their problems over the years. You know, and as they have success, they spend more money. Because ClickFunnels sure gonna get more money. You know, if they generate that 2K back, they're gonna get it back. Because I want the multiplier effect. And there's other platforms. Some people use Infusionsoft. Some people put their and complex from what I understand.
It is.
You know, some people use Infusionsoft. Some people use Builderall. Some people use Kajabi because Kajabi is more towards if you're going to create online courses, then Kajabi is good. Your book leads to the course because ultimately people can read your book 1,000 times. They need the accountability of the group. Again, the course is like group coaching, basically, where every week they show up to a pre-recorded group coaching, which is also a business, by the way. The pre-recorded videos, that sells. The live sells. The one-to-one sells. The group sells. And they all are built around the book.
Right.
So I just want to make sure I tie everything to why the book is
There's
good.
also Udemy for courses. That's
Yeah, Udemy is good.
Yeah.
Coursera is good. But Udemy, don't they take 50%?
I don't
I
know.
think Udemy takes half of the money you make in your course. Yeah.
And they promote it a lot more on their platform.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the trade-off.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it a course creator?
Yeah, course creator, Udemy, Udemy.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So they take a bigger cut, but they promote it more on their network too. So
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
Any
Oh,
questions?
good meat. Good meat.
And like I say in my cash line, welcome to Asylum. Yeah, man.
All right, let's stretch and take a break, but during the break, no matter what book you decide to write, I want you to think of the next step during this break. So I'm writing a children's book about entrepreneurship. What's the next step? I'm writing
Who is?
this one here. I'm writing a love and motherhood leadership book. What's the next step? What are
How you
gonna
feel?
Sell them afterwards?
How you feel? I'm
Your book's
still
gonna
on
be about
live.
entrepreneurship again?
People were
Commenting?
Sorry, go ahead.
but I didn't want to press anything, but I'm gonna end it now. Any
Thank
final
you.
words? How did you feel about it? You did a great job.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna finish up.